Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you tuned in to a very special edition of TUP Career Cafe. My name is Samarth and I will be your host for today. TUP, or the Ultimate Pitch, is a competition which allows bright young talent across B schools of India to showcase their uninhibited entrepreneurial spirit as an organization. Reliance has always believed in thinking big, thinking fast, and thinking ahead, and that's exactly what we are looking for in our future talent too. We are looking for change makers, trendsetters, and innovators who are willing to take the first step to make a difference one idea at a time. Moreover, for those who dare to dream and make it to the national finals of TUP, you can stand a chance to win pre placement interviews for the prestigious Reliance Emerging Leaders Program. Now, while all of that sounds very exciting, sometimes the start of something big can be quite a daunting task. So, this unique career cafe is for you, our future leaders. Let's use this 1 hour to learn and have a conversation about careers in the track of your choice, which in this case is human resources. And to help you along, we have leaders from Reliance who are here to talk about exciting opportunities at Reliance, their own professional journeys, as well as to share some useful insights into the track that you are interested in. We would request all of you to please feel free to post your questions in the chat window and we shall try to take some of them up through this session. First up, I would like to introduce Mr. Jiva Balakrishnan. Jiva is currently the Chief Talent Officer of Reliance Retail Business. He has over 2.5 decades of HR experience in manufacturing, consulting, retail, and service industry. Prior to joining Reliance, Jiva was associated with Raymond as the lifestyle business HR head. Jiva has a master's in human resource management from MISS Madurai and a certification in strategic human resource management from IIM Ahmedabad. He is a certified executive coach from CFI and passionate about helping people succeed. Jiva is also a certified talent development professional from ETD USA and working on renewing the talent transformation agenda for Reliance Retail in his current role. Hi, Jiva. Welcome to this session. So happy to see you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. Next, I would like to introduce Stefana Lindsay. Stefana is currently head HR for HR, corporate services, and medical services at Reliance Industries. In her decade long career so far with organizations that are industry leaders, she has worked across the gamut of HR. She was awarded the Economic Times Young Leader in 2018. In the year 2020, People Matters recognized her as one of the top 10 emerging HR leaders as part of Are You in the List Awards. At Reliance, she is part of the prestigious Career Acceleration Program that handpicks and nurtures young leadership talent in the organization. She is a general management graduate from the Indian School of Business. In fact, she joined us directly from campus, and Stefana, I'm sure our audience would be eagerly waiting to listen to your stories. Welcome and thank you for joining this event.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
So, once again, thanks both of you for joining in. It is such a pleasure to host you. To start off, let's have a quick round of introduction. Although I gave a brief and formal sort of introduction already, we would love to hear from all of both of you your stories and your professional journey so far. Let us start with Jiva.
Thank you, Samad. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to meet everyone on a virtual platform like this. I'm sorry about it. No, I thought of leaving the desired destination well on time, but I couldn't do it. But I'm sitting in a car. So I think that's something which we learned in the pandemic situation. You no matter what, you'll be able to do whatever you want to do it, right? If my video quality as audio quality is bad, please pardon me. To introduce myself, so I'm Jiva Balakrishnan. So I've got about 27 years of experience in HR. Amazing journey. So I did my master's in human resource management from a social work college, where I got grounded, and you got an opportunity to understand the level people. So you got a lot of opportunity to interact with them. That's where my journey started. Though I'm part of Reliance Retail right now, but I have a very strong foundation of manufacturing in HR. So manufacturing HR and services HR, we always look at little differently because the challenges are different. So I was in manufacturing for almost half part of my career, and so in retail, it's about last 12 years I'm in retail, 11 years I'm in retail. So with Reliance for the last 6 years, it's a fantastic journey. I joined Reliance Retail as head of HR for Reliance Digital. It's a consumer electronics firm and electronics division of Reliance Retail. We deal with the consumer electronics, consumer durables, and telecom sector. And then I briefly manage the HR for our grocery business. Is Reliance Market, B2B business and B2C business. And then last 6 7 months, in fact no 10 months, I'm managing talent and L&D for Reliance Retail across all the verticals. Um, and interesting journeys. I mean, when you are working in front end, and it's all about people. So retail is all about people, and we have over 200,000 people in Reliance Retail, and the journey is quite exciting. And HR in retail is a very interesting journey because the people who are um, encouraging the customers to take their wallet out and then make the payment or spend money. It's all about the people who are in the stores, and almost 95% of our store workforce belongs to that store employees, front end workforce. I think that's a fantastic journey. And so in HR, we talk about HR, ER, um, welfare, engagement, employee experience, talent development, talent management. But I got a good pie in my entire career. So I got IR, I managed IR, I managed ER, I managed manufacturing experience. I got an opportunity to manage other side of HR as well. So both transactional HR and transformational HR, and then I'm also fortunate, which maybe even Stafina, I don't know whether it's lucky for her or not, but I've got experience in the other side of HR where HR was evolving, and then maybe today it is completely they're part of the business. Maybe 15 years back, 20 years back, we used to always talk about HR problems. Okay, HR problems is an important thing, and today we are talking about business problems and business challenges and trying to give people solutions. I think it's a dramatic, excellent transformation, and I'm so happy to be part of this transformation journey. And I was also part of the yesterday's HR. So fantastic journey. Yes, Sam.
Wow. Thanks a lot to Jiva. That was quite a journey. Over to you, Stefana. We would love to hear from you.
Thanks, Samarth. You covered a fair bit in your introduction anyway, but I'm just going to try. Um, so yeah, like you'd mentioned, it I think wasn't very long ago at all that I was in the same boat as most of the students who've probably logged into this session today. I completed my MBA from ISP in 2018, and then I was campus recruited into Reliance. But I clocked a few years of HR experience pre MBA, about seven years. And I had initially started off in recruitment, then went on to do various roles in HR, in business partnering. I even did one non HR stint in a strategy role in the CEO's office in the org I was in. After that, I went on to do my MBA, joined Reliance as part of the CHRO's office initially, and I've since then moved into the role that I'm in now, which is where I manage HR for three of our functions, which is HR, corporate services, and medical services. Um, I just want to say, I mean, that I've loved the career journey that I've had. I've had the opportunity to work in the gamut of HR across industries, tech services, tech product. Now at Reliance, where I can't even say it's one particular industry because we're pretty much omnipresent in everything. Um, and generalist roles, specialist roles. I have a very deep love for HR as a function. So even in my undergrad and my bachelor's, I'd specialized in HR. So I've sort of stayed true to that, and explored this career in HR. Of course, I have nowhere near the sort of prolific career that Jiva has had, and I think people like him are the ones that have kind of paved the way for those of us and sort of this comfortable space that we see today. But yeah, that's I think been my journey so far at least.
Thanks a lot, Stefana, for that introduction of yours. And now let's talk a little bit about the businesses each of you is currently working in. And Reliance being a federation of diverse businesses, I'm sure our audience is keen to understand a little bit about the various kinds of opportunities available in HR at Reliance, and especially in the business you are in. So, Jiva, again, I'll come to you for answering this first.
Yeah, Samad, I'm so happy to talk about my business. No, so Reliance Retail is most happening. I'm sure most of the students, most of the audience in the in this panel would be able to connect with them. So whatever they buy, whatever they use, there will be a signature of Reliance everywhere. Right from fashion lifestyle to mobile phones, what they are using, the TVs, what they are watching, and like grocery essentials, everywhere we are there. So I'm part of Reliance Retail Limited. So we have the three major businesses we have. So one, grocery business is where we started in 2006, and grocery business is our largest business. Um, and then we were into physical stores. Now we have moved to a digital format. So we have physical store and digital formats. We have GeoMart as well. So one is grocery business, second is fashion lifestyle. We have all the formats of fashion lifestyle, be it men's, women, trends. So we have different formats. So fashion lifestyle is one vertical, one big umbrella. The third bigger umbrella is consumer durables and IT products, and telecom. We call it a CDIT. So we have Reliance Digital. It's our large format electronic store, and we have a small format called My Geo Store, where we sell mobile phones and telecom products. And we also have Rescue is our captive service organization. So this is CDIT, and then we are also getting into pharma and jewels. Pharma is our new kid in the block. So we just started. We have ambitious plans to open some 30,000 stores in the next 2 years. Huge plans. So right now we have about 13,635 stores across all the verticals, and with about 200,000 people, and we are working in 7,000 cities. It's massive scale, and we are expanding day by day. Every day we are expanding. Our business is also expanding. So there are some new businesses, like I'm sure pharma is one our most happening business. We already acquired Netmeds, and then we have physical store and then online store as well. It's going to be a game changer, and these are all the four verticals, and it's a huge opportunity. We have over 200 people working across India. That's an amazing journey. um, yeah, so that's it. Very interesting part of the business. I am part of Reliance Retail. That's another exciting thing.
Yes, in fact, indeed, Reliance Retail is a very interesting part of the business because being a consumer side of the business, so many familiar brands, so many familiar formats we get to see as part of the Reliance Retail bucket. Moving on to
Yeah,
Stefina,
so as I told you,
you-
Samad, sorry to interrupt you. So I just want to add one thing. As I told you, retail is all about people. It's about consumer, right? It's about consumer. It's human centricity everywhere, right? So there should be the people should be able to connect with the customers. So HR plays a major role in enhancing their experience, the employees' experience, so that they can enhance the customer experience. Unless the customers are happy, we will not be able to in the business. So that's where they are directly contributing to customers and the business. So HR plays a major role in that.
correct, and
Yeah, I'm sorry.
customer value being one of our six core values that is very close to all of our hearts. Let's move on to Stefina, and here, what do you have to say about your side of business?
So I think before I talk about the business that I'm part of itself, I'll maybe just set some context in terms of just a very brief context in terms of how Reliance itself is structured. So businesses at Reliance are largely clustered under the following areas, right? So there's retail, there's digital services, there's media and entertainment, there's oil to chemicals, and there's oil and gas exploration and production. These are sort of the primary sort of businesses, the key businesses, and then you have a whole host of allied businesses as well. So I am part of the O2C, the oil to chemicals business. So this business captures a very broad portfolio in terms of its products, spans transportation fuels, polymers, polyesters, elastomers, etc. And the entity basically has plants and manufacturing assets located at Jamnagar, Hazira, Dahej, Nagotane, Vadodara, Patalganga, Silvassa, Barabanki, Hoshiarpur. We also have a JV with BP. It's called Reliance BP Mobility Limited, RBML. A huge priority for the oil to chemicals business at this point is the transition from transportation fuels to chemicals, transition to renewables, carbon capture, conversion to useful chemicals and materials. So essentially, broadly to summarize that, there's a lot of focus in the business on sustainability and circular economy. So that's oil to chemicals. And then you also have the oil and gas exploration and production business, which is basically the upstream, in this entire chain, which is the exploration and production of raw materials such as oil and gas. So they've got assets in the KG-D6 basin, in Kakinada, and a couple of coal bed methane blocks, etc. So outside of these primary businesses, there's a whole host of allied businesses, right? Outside of geo retail, oil to chemicals, there's a whole host of allied businesses. Ranges from everything from sports, which is like your Mumbai Indians, etc. Then you've got hospital, then you've got Reliance Foundation, you've got Geo World Center. I'm sure everybody's aware now with the mall that's come up. Aviation. So there's a whole host of sort of allied areas as well outside of these primary businesses. So when we're talking about project opportunities for our RELs, we're talking about an extremely wide range, both in terms of the kind of areas in HR you'll work on. It could be talent management, diversity and inclusion, industrial relations, branding, a whole host of things, right? It could be any of those, and it could be spread out across any of these various sort of businesses. It could be in retail, it could be in geo, it could be in new energy and new materials. So just the sheer scope of what we're talking about when we're talking about the kind of opportunities that you could have is quite vast. If you talk about just one business, for example, if you talk about oil to chemicals, you could be working at Jamnagar, where we have a workforce of about 7,000-8,000 people, or you could be working at, in Bombay in our office location, doing some central strategy, policy, process design work. So I think the kind of opportunities there are extremely varied and quite vast. So I don't know if I could do justice to just describing that in a couple of minutes, but I'm trying.
Thanks, Stefina, for actually describing the entire Reliance ecosystem and letting us know about oil to chemicals businesses detail, apart from the opportunities that we would have for RELs. And students, you could leverage the chat window to ask as many questions as you want to either one of our speakers or to both of them, as you would like it. And I'm sure the students tuned in are very excited by all the wonderful opportunities that lie ahead to learn and grow. And speaking of growth, our motto here at Reliance is growth is life. And this stems from our fundamental ethos of constantly thinking like entrepreneurs in order to stay ahead of the curve. And so we would like to know, how this entrepreneurial zeal is seen in your day-to-day work. And this time, Stefan, I would first come to you for answering this question.
So I'll maybe reference something that our chairman often says, right? He references something called the founder-owner mindset, which he holds quite dear. And it's something that's sort of foundational to the DNA of Reliance. So the founder-owner mindset essentially is a mindset where, we're talking about maximum autonomy with minimal supervision. It's a mindset we want every single one of our employees to have, which is essentially we take complete ownership of what we do. There's very little sort of supervision or management because we work with an equation of high trust in our relationships, and this works well. Also, it aligns well with our values and behaviors of integrity, excellence, etc. And so, like I said, this is expected out of every single employee at Reliance, right? And so, what does an entrepreneur do? An entrepreneur is expected to do something very similar, which is he takes complete ownership of his business, he runs it end to end, and he's very invested in every little piece of it. There isn't as much supervision. So, despite the scale and the size that we are as Reliance, this huge conglomerate, it is this founder owner mindset is something that is expected to be foundational to the way that every employee at Reliance kind of functions, and it's a mindset that's been articulated and sort of defined from the very top, which is by our chairman. So um, so that is therefore something that is ingrained to a large degree at Reliance. And I think maybe another thing I would reference is when I joined Reliance, someone once described it to me as a very restless organization. And it's actually one of my favorite ways to describe Reliance, because this is not an organization where, one day you accomplish something. Like today, I do something great in my job. I sit down and I rejoice about it, for the next 10 days. No, it's a very restless organization. Every single employee is restless. The moment you finish something, it's like, okay, great, you did that. Now what next? What next? What next? And that's also how entrepreneurs think. They're constantly looking on how to evolve, etc. So yeah, and that's ingrained in all of us. And even in my day-to-day job, I see that we never sort of rest on our laurels. And the other piece, I think, with the way that entrepreneurial mindset plays out at Reliance is the fact that there's very little de-siloization. I get to see that even in my job from day one. If there's anything happen in any corner of the organization, there's a project, there's something happening, anybody, irrespective of level, function, business, where you are in the organization, as long as you raise your hand and say, I think I could add some value, I think I have an idea. Very rarely, I think, is someone going to stop you and say, no, I don't think you should get involved. Because it's a place that sort of encourages that you get as involved, that you collaborate as much as possible, and break silos down. So I think that's maybe how I see entrepreneurial mindset playing out at Reliance.
Thanks a lot, Stefana, for that answer. Let me pick up one of the audience questions that we have at this stage now. Gunjan Sharma has asked that how is Reliance leveraging AI in... Yeah.
Samarth, before getting this, maybe, I just want to add something to what Stefana said. That's a very interesting perspective, and I think she shared the vision of, and most of them our chairman talks about it, and then founders mindset is something which we live every day. One is at the corporate level, we all know that, and we are all doing it. And I just want to quote something here, we are operating in 7,000 cities. I'm talking about even Reliance Retail. We are operating in 7,000 cities, and most of the some of the stores, we have only 3 people managing this entire store. Not even 3 people, sometimes 2 or also, like small town stores. Unless there is a ownership mindset at the field workforce, and they are hardly 10 standard, 10 standard or 12 standard pass. I think those kind of people also, they demonstrate founders mindset in stores. And most of the store managers, they operate like a CEO of that store. They operate like a owner of the store. Okay, unless otherwise they take the ownership, and they are fully empowered to manage the store on their own, and to make sure that the store is functional, and the store is achieving its target, and it is also keeping the employees happy. I think that's it. The owner mindset is there across the chain. It is not about only the corporate office, and everywhere. And I'm sure that this is the same thing which happens with even our manufacturing sector. Everywhere, the people really feel that they have that ownership mindset, and they walk the talk. And I think that's a great thing which I have witnessed in the last 6 years, and I'm proud to be part of this organization.
Thanks a lot, Jiva, for adding on. Let me pick up this question from Gunjan Sharma, who's asking that how are we leveraging AI in terms of managing human capital? or if I may broaden this, how are we leveraging all sorts of the new technology that are coming up?
Yeah. So one, of course, the AI is there everywhere, and businesses are adopting to AI. And technology adoption is one thing to run the business, to engage with the customers, to provide them a great experience for our customers. AI has been. I'm not going to touch on the business part of it, but in terms of people, we are using AI for hiring. There is an AI-enabled chatbot, AI-enabled assessment process, and there is an AI-enabled learning pod. So we experimented recently using AI in designing a learning pod. If some of the employees ask this question relevant to their work, I mean, it will immediately help them to understand. So that's how the AI is there everywhere, and AI is being we are trying to leverage AI in managing human capital, not only in attracting talent, hiring talent, and managing the talent, and giving them good experience, and making them to be capable of doing what they are supposed to do. So I think that's how we are leveraging Samit.
Thanks, Jiva. Stefana, would you like to add on to this?
I think very similar. Even in the oil to chemical side, I think we've largely got AI with the chatbots that we've got in the hiring process, in learning, etc. And general everyday query handling also, we've got our chatbots which are used quite frequently. The other thing I maybe want to add on is the fact that at Reliance, like with everything, we like doing a lot of things ourselves. So even with tech, HR tech, for example, there's a lot that we're trying to build internally. So there's currently a platform, that's HR platform, that's in the works internally, that is supposed to sort of manage the entire employee life cycle. And there's a fair bit of AI in play at different stages of that particular piece that's being developed. That is currently in the works, and it will be interesting to see, I think, how that comes through as well.
Thanks, Stefana. So now let's travel back in time. What are some of your fondest memories of campus or corporate life? And moreover, if you could switch places with the students who have joined on in this session, what advice would you give to your younger self? So, uh, Stefana, would you like to go first?
Uh, Fondest memories, I don't know if I remember any. I think one advice I would definitely give people is please be a lot more patient coming into the corporate space. We tend to come in with a lot of preconceived notions, ideas, etc. And it's very important to understand that in the corporate space, more than ever, you're really going to be shocked by the diversity of people, the backgrounds that they come from, the kind of work that they do, all of it. So I think it's very important to be really patient, in any organization or just in the corporate space. For the first 6 months to 1 year, your focus should be on learning. Stay humble, know that everybody there knows more than you do, and try and, sort of learn like a sponge. And I would really, really, I say this very strongly to everybody because it was advice that was given to me very early on, and it's the best piece of advice I've had. For the first 5 to 6 years, don't be too picky about, I will do specifically this or this. Take every little piece of work, every task that is given to you, however mundane it might seem, or, any of that. Take it on like an opportunity and try and do it to the best of your abilities. Um, that's the only way to get really operationally savvy at the very beginning of your career, because those are not skills you will get too many opportunities for later in your career. So I'd just say be very patient and stay humble. Pick up good mentors, which is, I think, another important thing. Pick the right kind of people, who can guide and mentor you. I think picking very good mentors and guides early on is very important, with sort of the direction that your career will take.
Thanks, Stefana. Jiva, let us hear from you if you would want to share your fondest memories and your advice to your younger self.
Yeah, so fondest memories, I would, there are many good things. And in fact, I just want to connect. I just want to put myself in students' place. So I don't think I got the opportunities what the students are getting in today's world, right? So a lot of opportunities to understand, to learn and understand how the corporates are operating. And there are a lot of mentors to help them, guide them, to inspire them. These are all the opportunities today. I think I'm sometimes not jealous of today's world, right? Maybe I'm so, but at the same time, I got excellent opportunities. I finished my campus, and then I got an opportunity to work in a small company. Whereas, no, in 1 year's time, I become the boss, and my boss was no more with the company. So a lot of opportunities where no, the management could see potential in me. So that is great opportunity. And I my early part of my career, I learned a lot of stuff. And as Stefina rightly said, being patient is the powerful tool, and I think it worked very well in my case. I was very patient, and I was really trying to understand how to operate. And though I had a lot of questions in my mind, I was waiting for right opportunity to ask these questions. Of course, we get a lot of excitement whenever we you come from campus to corporate, right? You try to challenge the status quo, you try to challenge, find mistakes in the way the corporate is operating. So you come with a lot of fresh ideas, fresh perspectives. But it's also important to ask in the right situation, right opportunity. And I think if you're able to demonstrate it, instead of just asking question, if you can go with some solution, or possible solutions, I think it would work. And fortunately, in my experience, a lot of my seniors, managers, they understood and appreciated that. And even in today's world, today even I have a lot of curiosity, and I go with some curious questions to my bosses, and they always appreciate, and then challenge my curiosity also sometimes, to get the best out of me. I think this is one thing which I learned, and I don't think it's an advice to the students, but maybe you can think about it. You can evaluate this approach. It might work. Okay, and I don't think advice is the right thing, but this is my experience. Maybe you can think about it. It might work. Second, um, my understanding of HR is slightly different. So my understanding of HR is the best HR manager from whom you can learn HR is your mother. And I think they teach you HR, and they have not gone to any management institution to learn HR, but they are the best HR at home. And I think they could empathize, they could understand people, they could serve people without anything in return. I think these are some of the qualities which I personally felt it. And then this is how, probably I got interested in pursuing my career in HR. And the second thing is, this is a great opportunity for you to helping people succeed. And why you are helping people succeed? Because they are part of an organization. The organization will also grow, and it is individual growth as well as the organization growth. And you play the catalyst role, and HR plays the catalyst role in finding people, identifying potential, identifying talent, developing them, nurturing them. And you play a catalyst role. Maybe you're not a business guy, but you play a major role in developing them. So if they are successful, the organization is also successful. So I somehow know this mantra is very close to me, helping people succeed so that the organization can also succeed, right? So that helping, that altruistic approach, uh, mindset should be there in HR. And if you want to be in HR, I think this is something which I have learned, and then I picked it up. And all your transactions can be managed by machine. Today it's all about the future. HR is all about how you are understanding people, and how you are challenging them, how you are helping them to make aware of themselves, clearing their self doubts. And today the one more interesting challenge is human computer interaction. Today we are interacting with computers, and HR is no more only HR is human computer resources. So HCR, we should be able to manage how they are interacting, how the relationship is going to be between machine and people. And somebody, Gunjan Sharma, asked this interesting question: how you are leveraging AI in terms of managing human capital. I think that's going to be HR's role going forward. So we should understand technology, at the same time we should also understand people, and then somewhere, no, you should be able to balance this. I think these are all some of the pointers which maybe the students can think about it.
Thanks a lot to Jiva and thanks Stefana for answering this question. In fact, for myself being a young member of the Reliance family, I am taking a lot of notes from what you guys are advising the students, and I'm sure this would be helpful for the leaders of tomorrow. And students, I hope you are taking notes since these tips are certainly useful for you. And meanwhile, keep asking your questions on the chat window. We'll be taking them one by one. Uh, so the students who have joined this Career Cafe booth are all aspirants of HR function. So what, according to you, are the top two or three recommendations for these students to hone their skills in the HR area? And this could be apart from the subject matter, could be books, the movies that they could watch, or any other thing, any other tip that you would want to give to the students. So, Stefana, let us start with you.
I think maybe I'd give two very specific suggestions. One is sort of the biggest thing in HR today, at least in my opinion, is what is happening in the HR tech space. In fact, the first question was around HR tech. The HR tech space is just booming today, right? It's growing exponentially every single year. So being aware or sort of having general knowledge and exposure in that area is not a negotiable anymore. It's sort of now a mandate to just generally be savvy, to be able to speak that language, hold a conversation in that space, and know what you're talking about. Add some value to the organization that you're going in. So for that, one very specific suggestion that I would have is follow some good thought leaders on LinkedIn. The one that I find most useful is Josh Bersin. He also has a podcast that he runs, and specifically, most of his content is focused on HR tech and the latest happenings in HR tech. So that's my first suggestion. And I think my second suggestion would be to have general sort of exposure to everything that's going on in the HR space and in the business space in general. Um, Please reference on a regular basis good HR, like quality HR journals. The one that I frequently refer to is People Matters. Extremely good HR content, very updated. So I would say these are probably two suggestions that I would have.
Thanks a lot, Stefana. Jiva, let us hear from you. What are the suggestions that you have to give to the studio?
Yeah, so the first and foremost, I would suggest, wherever you go, so first, I mean, try to understand the business, because the business nuances are very, very important, and those are the days gone that no HR is a separate function. HR is part of the business, and today a lot of HR leaders are part of the boardroom, right? I mean, they are sitting in the decision making table. So you need to have sound knowledge of the business, whichever business you are in. You need to first understand the business. You should be part of the business. You should know what's happening and what is really driving the business to move ahead. So I think this is one suggestion I would make. The second suggestion, as Stefana rightly said, it's all about the technology piece. And today, how you are leveraging technology in human resource management and human capital management. So that is something which is very important, because today, so I recently listen to someone. I mean, I think I mentioned this somewhere also. Tom Peters said, "Soft is hard and hard is soft." So whatever we felt soft in the past, that all become hard today. And whatever hard skills, whatever we talked about, like hard skills like business, numbers, Excel, all those things, it becomes soft. It's all system can manage. But whatever the soft thing, no, right? Communication, employees engagement, employees experience, or customers experience, or the emotional intelligence part. So all these soft skills, or whatever we called as soft, that all become hard today. That's going to be, in fact, if you refer World Economic Forum's future of jobs report, emotional intelligence, one of the critical feature skills. Okay, it's there for for many years. It's been there, and people has been talking about emotional intelligence or social intelligence or sense making or scenario planning. But these are also going to be the future skills. So when you're talking about future, it's all about connecting with people and understanding people, how they are how they are responding. At the same time, with a touch of technology, how you are leveraging technology and human skills, human elements are more important. I think this is where one is understanding human. First thing in business acumen, second is understanding human, third is leverage technology. I think these are the suggestions I would make. And if you want to really learn, and as I really like the way Stefina said, Josh Bersin is one. I also follow, I also listen, I also learn a lot from his podcast. And there are many podcasts. I mean, for me, podcast is the one good learning source. And so one is Josh Bersin, there is Dave Stachowiak, so coaching for leaders, and there is something called Stephen Deepak Jayaraman, Play to Potential. So there are a lot of interesting podcasts there. And there is there is an institute called Institute for the Future, and they talk about how HR is going to be, our business is going to be in the future, how we are going to change the community, we are going to change the organization. These are some interesting perspectives. Maybe some of the things you can really look at it. And today, content is there everywhere. You need to really pick up the right content and then consume it, and then reflect upon it. Just consumption only enough is not enough.
That was some great piece of advice, and I hope all our students are noting them down. Thanks a lot for such candid and insightful advice. And continuing with the theme of tips and learning, I think one of the biggest teachers in the recent past has been the disruption that the world has witnessed through this pandemic. And based on this is the next question that we have got. Work certainly has changed, the way we learn has changed, and everyone had to quickly adapt. And I think the biggest example that we are seeing live is that Jiva, you are connecting to maybe thousands of students sitting in a car, which I don't think we could practically imagine maybe 2 years ago that we could do such events and people would be happily viewing that in such a scenario. So can you tell us how things have changed for you at work, and what advice would you give to the students again to thrive in the new normal? So again, Jiva, let me start with you this time.
Yeah. So so I'm spent enough time in retail, and then I have better understanding of retail. So so retail was never considered to be like the way you used to operate in the last 1.5 years or 18 months, 19 months now. So we never thought work from home or work from anywhere is possible in retail. Retail is all about, I mean, connecting. It's all physical stores, and whoever is supporting retail they can never work from office, and they can never work from anywhere. So they have to come to office. That's how we also had strong belief when somebody was talking about it. We said rubbish. It's not possible at all. But today we learned the way to work in the last 20 months. And in fact, I mean, as you are aware, there is, even though some of the 85% of our stores were not functional, still we were able to achieve our top line and bottom line. There was no dip in performance, and people are really productive because people are able to adapt to technology, adapt to digital. And if you really ask me, one of my important personal learning is I learned when to mute and when to unmute myself. Okay, that is something which I learned about, because it's a great learning for me, because I mean, I can really unmute myself whenever I want to really make a comment, and whenever really I want to speak, which is not possible in a physical environment. Whereas in technology is actually gives the leverage to mute yourself and unmute yourself whenever you want to do it. That means what? You are able to manage yourself, you are able to think and process. It's not about just listening, it's about processing and then responding. And this is something, it's a personal learning. In terms of the business, when I'm connected to the business, yeah, we'll be able to manage the way we want to manage. And I want to share it with everyone that even the digital space, GeoMart, was born during pandemic. We were only operating physical stores. In immediately after pandemic, I mean March 2020, we started with a small GeoMart online delivery. Online delivery, that's a new capability, and our people are able to quickly pick up the capability. And the organization played a major role in upskilling people, reskilling people, and then they were able to pick up new capabilities, and they were able to deliver more than what they were supposed to do. So, and people are really good, and nobody is useless. No, it's all about how we are leveraging their potential, how we are really supporting them, how you are helping them to succeed. I think this is something which we learned during the pandemic and really helped us to. Uh, uh, I'm not even saying that it's just a growth. It's a massive growth, and we have adopted it very well. And that's a great learning, Samad.
Thanks, Jiva. Over to you, Stefana, for your experiences of adapting to the new normal and your suggestions to the students.
So I have trouble answering that only because I feel like the normal is has been evolving for a bit now, right? Over the last year and a half or two, and now I'm sure with a lot of organizations looking at return to work and things like that, it will continue to sort of evolve and go through multiple iterations. And in fact, for all of these students that have logged in, that will be maybe a lot of them will be starting their careers. This new normal is the only normal they will probably ever be witness to. They haven't seen a different normal at the workplace that we have. They'll probably move to working into this sort of a normal and get very used to it. I think the only thing we can do is see normally when there's disruptions and there's times like the extremely trying time that we've had, you tend to feel automatically threatened as a human being, and then you move into this sort of survival mindset. The important thing to do is to switch your mindset and move into sort of like a growth mindset, because what is the difference, right? With a survival mindset, it is associated with, say, a very low level of resilience, well-being. You're not very receptive to learning and change, whereas a growth mindset on the other hand means you're much more curious, adaptable, empathetic, focused on solutions rather than the problem, moving out of your comfort zone. So I think developing. So if so, you ask me, what is maybe advice to people to thriving in the new normal? I think developing that growth mindset is what is sort of key to thriving and succeeding in the new normal. It and we've seen that, right? We've all had so many of our HR colleagues. You're gutted because you're dealing with employees on a daily basis that you consider family. A death in their family was something that you dealt with very personally. One of your employees passing away was something that completely gutted you. I've had people, have these calls around, employees or employees' family members passing away, and the HRBPs would have spent days and weeks, trying to attend to their every medical need, trying to ensure everything, every medical requirement, everything is done. But it happens, and you still needed to move past that because you still had the rest of your employee base that was counting on you to help them get through this time. So the only way to do it is to therefore develop this mindset where you can be very resilient while still being very empathetic, which is so hard to do. And that's probably the biggest key. And like Jiva said, yeah, I think some aspects clearly have changed, right? Like collaborating with the team, you figure out different ways to collaborate. Leaders who maybe managed teams by to some degree, by physical proximity, because you had your team members around you, you could physically see what they were up to, etc. They needed to adapt themselves to figure out different ways to sort of manage their teams, develop high trust quotients, things like that. So a lot has changed, and a lot will continue to change. In fact, I think the new normal, if I'm not wrong, was a term that came in during the 2008 financial crisis, because they said so much is changing, the workplace is changing, the world is changing. So these crises will come and they will go. The only thing you can control, I think, is the mindset that you have to try and get you through them.
Thank you, Stefana, for the response. Before moving ahead with the last piece of question that I have, let me pick another question asked by one of our audience members. The question is by Gokul Sanup, and he wants to know that as a fresher, maybe somebody who doesn't have any past industry experience, what should be the focus to become a successful HR manager? And so let us have that one tip or one mantra that a fresher should follow to become a successful HR manager. Stefana, over to you.
Okay, I will say, first of all, forget successful HR manager. To be successful in the corporate space in general, um, just especially in your early years as a fresher, like I said, please be very patient. Try and learn like a sponge. Take on any work that is thrown at you. With an HR manager in general, I think there is one tip that I have. It probably might not be a universal sort of thought. Everyone says when you're in HR, you operate fully with kind of a service mindset, right? Because your employees are like your customers, etc. I've always believed it's probably more useful to think about your employee base as your clients rather than as your customers. Because the difference with that is with the customer is always right. Whereas with the client, they come to you for advice, for coaching, for help on various matters. So they need necessarily always be right. You could coach them in the right direction on various matters. So I would say having that mindset of treating the employee base maybe as a client might be one useful mindset to adopt when dealing with employees. Know that they are not necessarily always right. And it's very important, I think, to also play a balance between being an employee advocate and managing organizational demands. I think Dave Ulrich, if I'm not wrong, calls it being the paradox navigator. There are so many paradoxes to deal with as an HR manager. There are so many conflicting demands that you have to manage. I don't think there's any other function that deals with successfully playing that tightrope between so many conflicting demands, so many different stakeholders as the HR person does. So figuring out, picking up all those nuances from so many different sides and then carefully playing that tightrope is maybe one way you could be successful.
Thanks so much, Stefana. Jiva, if I may ask you, that one mantra that you would like to give to a fresher. Uh, I think there is some glitch, or Jiva, until we are able to connect with you again, let me move on to my next question, or maybe the last question of this evening. It is about the Reliance Emerging Leaders Program, the RELP, which provides exposure through a rotation program in year one, as well as various structured learning, networking, and growth opportunities across 2 years and beyond. For all our young leaders out there, why do you think going through this kind of a program is important, and how do you see these helping students build a strong foundation?
I don't know, do we have Jiva back?
Yeah.
Probably not yet. Right? Okay, so at least RELs that Reliance onboards, we look to you as all the future RELs that are on this call. We look to them as our future leaders, right? They are sort of coming on board to help us augment and build our leadership pipeline with some fresh talent and energy. I'll talk specifically, I think, about the program that we have for HR RELs in particular, because that's one I sort of have a close kind of association with. So the program itself is structured in a way that maximizes exposure and learning for the RELs, right? So you've got the opportunity to do multiple stints in the year. So one stint could be, say, in a manufacturing site, in say Hazira or Jamnagar. Another is, in a central role where you're managing, say, talent management, involved in process, policy design, things of that sort, all the while you're receiving mentorship by different leaders. And during this entire journey, there's a lot of structured learning interventions. So this kind of broad exposure in year one sets you up very well to take on various roles in the organization. Because if I were to now ask you, what kind of a role do you want to do? You're interested in HR. What do you want to do in HR? Today you might say, I want to do talent management, but tomorrow, after doing a stint in a manufacturing location working on complex industrial relations issues, for example, you could say, that's what I want to do. I want to be an IR expert managing these complex problems, right? Working with unions on a regular basis, dealing with their issues. So only when you're able to sort of apply and do the actual work will you get a true flavor of what these different jobs involve, what a day in that job looks like. So like I said, what these different stints enable you to do is take on these various roles in the organization. You're able to make much more informed decisions when you're taking on your permanent roles, and you get very wide visibility to leaderships, and your roles tend to be so varied, right? Like I said, one minute you're say working in diversity and inclusion, and the next you could be doing something else, or you could be working in the new energy business, figuring out HR processes and setting up policies. So just the sheer scope in terms of variety, etc., is quite fabulous. And of course, the big advantage with Reliance is that it's such a large conglomerate. We're present in so many different businesses. So you also get the exposure to do your stints in multiple businesses.
Thanks, Stefina. And in fact, while you mentioned about the Reliance Emerging Leader Program, I just can't help but feel nostalgic myself because I joined as part of this program in the year 2019. And, it's been a little over 2 years, and I'm right today on the other side talking about the program to maybe, hundreds and maybe 1,000+ students out there. So this is the kind of trust that Reliance places on the Reliance Emerging Leaders, or maybe the members of the Reliance family. And these are the kind of opportunities that one gets when one enters this ecosystem. So I want to take this opportunity to tell our audience a little bit more about this program. And if I may request the slides to be put upon at this moment. So the Reliance Emerging Leaders Program is a gateway to the young leaders of tomorrow to join us and drive challenging projects across Reliance Group. This is our group-wide program for management graduates. And as Stefina also described, the RELP involves a 2-year developmental journey with 2 challenging stints in the first year across different businesses and a final role allocation in the second year. These stints and the final role could be across any of our businesses, be it oil to chemicals, new energy, retail, geo, allied businesses, and the projects as well as the final allocation will be in the track of your choice. That means human resources in this case. The projects and roles you can expect could be in business partnering, CHRO's office, manufacturing, HR, industrial relations, performance and rewards, people development, talent management, precisely the way Stefina described the program. We also have various opportunities for the RELs to network among themselves, as well as with the leadership across the group through Coffee Connects and Batch Connects. The program also opens up avenues to accelerated growth and a plethora of learning opportunities across businesses. We hope you are excited about this program and about the ultimate pitch. Like I mentioned before, apart from on-campus hiring, those who make it to the national finals of the ultimate pitch stand a chance to bag the pre-placement interviews to be a part of the Reliance Emerging Leaders Program. Thanks for putting up the slides. Jiva and Stefina, it was such a pleasure hosting you in this Career Cafe. And before we close, I think let me take last 1 or 2 questions that we have on the chat window. And the students, thanks for the amazing response on the chat window. We are getting so many questions, and I think Jiva is back. So let me read out the questions that has come up on the chat window. This is an interesting one. What kind of leadership style is mostly followed at Reliance, and how to develop skills in managing internal stakeholders effectively? It's quite an interesting question. And Jiva, are you there? Or maybe Stefina, if you could answer this until Jiva is back.
Sorry, Samarth, you'll have to give me a minute. If you can have Jiva come in, I think he can hear us, right? Yeah, he can hear you, so maybe he can.
Yeah, Jiva, we can hear you. Should I repeat the question, please? So the question that we are taking up is, what kind of leadership style is mostly followed at Reliance, and how to develop skills in managing internal stakeholder effectively? I think there is still some technical glitch at Jiva's end. And
okay, I'll maybe just quickly answer that. Sorry. So yeah, so in terms of leadership style, like I'd already previously described, while I'm not going to say put a name to the specific leadership styles that we have, the idea is that everybody sort of behaves like a leader, which is why the founder owner mindset is one that is so important at Reliance, and everybody kind of behaves like an entrepreneur within the organization. How to develop skills in managing stakeholders, internal stakeholders effectively. I mean, there's a lot of content out there. So educate the three E's, right? Education, exposure, etc. So there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of learning programs. So at Reliance, for example, we have a series of learning programs that we have, both sort of classroom based and otherwise, specifically on management skills and things of that sort. So I'm not going to go into too many details, but I'll maybe club this part of the question with the other question that's come in. Can I do that, Samarth, on the various training and coaching programs that we have?
Yes, please, Stephina.
Okay, so there's one question on what kind of training and coaching programs that we have. So I'm a little mindful of time, so I'm just going to club that sort of with the question on developing skills. So at Reliance, we've got a central team that manages learning across the organization, and under that central, and they manage largely leadership and behavioral learning programs. And under them, we've got something called technical and functional academies, which is the different businesses have domain specific learning academies that do learning specific to their businesses. Now, we've got multiple digital learning solutions. We've got Coursera, we've got LinkedIn Learning, etc. We've also got our own internal LMS that is integrated with all of this. We've got a series of sort of content that we also tend to develop internally on a need basis for various needs. And we have custom-made programs to address specific needs. For example, with talent management, to coach specific groups of employees, we've got something called Step Up to SLL, Step Up to GL, Step Up to FLL. So we've got these different programs that are in place. For our engineers, for example, we've got, for the manufacturing population, we've got Sapphire, CEP and various learning programs specifically to identify and groom leadership talent. We've got something called the career acceleration programs. So I'm just sort of listing out a laundry list of various talent management, learning, coaching programs that we have in place. In addition to, say, the digital learning solutions that we have like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, etc. And in addition to that, we've got the functional and business academies that do functional and business specific domain learning. So where learning and development and coaching is concerned, you will find when you come to Reliance, there is no dearth of sort of content and guides, to help you learn, including on developing skills in managing internal stakeholders effectively.
Thanks a lot, Stephina, for answering both the questions, and thanks a lot, audience, for giving this amazing response. We might not be able to take more questions because we are just in time, and but feel free to send in your questions through email or through our social media channels. I think Jiva couldn't connect again due to some technical glitch, but it was such a pleasure hosting both of you in this Career Cafe, and thanks again for such an insightful career conversation. We hope you guys also enjoyed this, and to our viewers out there, we hope you found this discussion useful. We cannot wait to see some of your big ideas featuring in season of the Ultimate Pitch. Before closing, Stephina, any last parting comments?
Time not too long ago, I remember just about 3.5 years ago, placement season, there's a lot of jitters, there's the prep that you keep doing. So I know it must be a very nervous, anxious time for all of you, but I'm sure you're going to be doing just fine. Just please make sure you do a lot of research in terms of the organizations that you're applying to, so that you, in your interviews, you can talk about the kind of value you want to add to the organization. And I'm really hoping I can maybe meet some of you at the office soon enough.
Thanks, Stephina. Jiva, Are you there? If you're there, we would love to hear from you your final
Yeah,
comments.
yes, Samant. I'm so sorry. My apologies to everyone. I think there are some technical glitch. I couldn't join back. Yeah, it is wonderful conversation. Maybe I mean I missed the last part. Maybe there are a lot to learn. So one quick comment, no, maybe as I'm taking cue from what Stefano was saying. Be open to learn, and I think that's and don't restrict yourself in a compartment. And as today people are talking about T model, right? There is a width and breadth. So both are important. Don't restrict ourselves that no, I'm only a T, especially so I'm only a strategy guy. So instead of I mean compartmentalizing ourselves into a one segment of HR, I think we need to really have the width and then breadth wherever you get opportunity. I think that's more important, and that's where the generalist roles are emerging, not that specialist role. I think this could be my last comment.
Thanks a lot, Jeeva, once again. And as I said, we cannot wait to see some of your big ideas featuring in this season of the Ultimate Pitch. In case you haven't already done the registration and submitted your ideas, head over to reliancetup.in and register now. All the best for a bright and long career ahead. This is Samad Sinha, your host for this evening, signing off. Stay safe and have a good evening.